Hey there, Scorpio. Welcome to your reading for the week of the 29th of December. You have this anger card. It says conflict, loss of control, and boundaries. You have this war. It says internal conflict and emotional regulation. At the end of Neptune and Pisces here, I definitely feel water signs should keep an eye on their emotions. It's not even necessarily bad, and actually you're off to a great start here with this first row. But what I would say is, I would be careful of getting too feeling out of control emotionally. I think this is just a water sign thing that water signs will be dealing with until the end of January. And like I said, I think if we channel that energy constructively, then we can use it, right? And that's exactly what I would do. But you could find yourself getting fired up about random things that are happening in your life or happening in the world. And like I said, I think it's pretty simple. Just make sure that you're using the energy, putting it into like a project or your health or something like that, and you'll be perfectly fine. You have the Four Wands, the Empress, and the Two of Wands. Four Wands can, of course, be marriage, and we do see a little bit of love here. So if you're looking for love, sure, there could be a commitment coming in for you here. I think the Four Wands and the Empress is talking about you committing to nurturing yourself, though, is what I would say. That would be like the first thing that I would do if I were you, Scorpio. There is something about like Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries, which, by February will be back in Aries. And there's like something about it. Aries is the individual. It is the first house, right? And we're talking about in astrology in general. I'm not saying it's your first house, although it could be if you look at your chart. But what I would say is that I think that this is saying it would be a really good time to protect yourself, nurture yourself, commit to your health, wellness, happiness, love, energy in your life. We're not talking about a person. That could be part of it, but it could just be the energy of love in general. And kind of doing that and committing to that will probably, of course, make your life a lot better. The Four of Wands also comes up sometimes when we're about to complete something. I look at the Four of Wands as kind of like a finish line card. We have this finish line right here, and you need to go celebrate on the other side. So you could be wrapping some things up, like some projects or ideas at the end of the year here, and that would be great. You have the Empress, which again, I think is saying put yourself first. It doesn't matter if you're man, woman, whatever. With the Empress, it's just an energy that you're going to be working with. She's able to create more abundance by, nurturing the abundance that she has created as well. She's the most nurturing card in the tarot, so I would, if you're working on anything that's working, I would work on it more. not just this week, but for like the next few months, of course, right? It seems to me like we're in a time of efficiency. That's why I talk about people doubling down on what works all the time. But people tell me all the time that they do it, but really they don't, right? So we need to really pay attention to what is working, and we need to recreate those successes over and over and over again. I teach YouTube on the weekends, and I tell people all the time, they'll have like a successful video and I'll be like, do it again. And they'll be like, I can do that? I'm like, yeah. There's no rule that says you can't recreate that success. And, it's been a big part of my success. So I'm a big fan of just duplicating what already works, right? And that's what I would do with the Empress is like focus on what's working, really think about it, because again, sometimes I think people, I do this too. I'm far from perfect. I'm not trying to be like perfect here or something, Scorpio, because I'm not. But, what I would say is like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I should probably do that again, but I have to think about it. Sometimes I don't like see how I can recreate the success. But if I think about it, then I'm like, oh, I just have to do that again. You have the Two of Wands. Yep, you're a fixed sign, so fixed signs are being asked to leave comfort zones right now for the next, several years. And, Two of Wands, he's being asked to go expand his kingdom. He's standing at the top of his castle, but he has the whole world in his hands. So he's being asked to let go of something that he's already built, and which can be a little bit scary, right? If we have been working on something for a long time and we feel a pull to go do something else. But this castle is not going anywhere. That's what he needs to realize. Like what he has built, it does not have to come crumbling down. He's already built it. He just has to go expand his kingdom. He has to go do something else. But, it's like maybe he has to hire some people to take care of this castle while he's gone. And I'm not saying you have to hire people, but, again, with whatever you're being asked to build, especially if it's something new, there are probably ways that you can maintain what you've already built. And I would just think about that one as well here, Scorpio, because like I said, this is probably one of the most important things that fixed signs could do, is to look at how they can maintain what's already done and how they can expand what they want to do. And that's it. With the Four Wands, you have the Magician. Yeah, I think if you want love, you've definitely attracted love for sure into your life, whether you realize it or not. I don't know if you know this person yet or not. I kind of feel like the answer is no for most of you. Some of you might have your eye on a person. I feel that. But if you've been asking for love, definitely could be attracting love. He's also pointing towards the Eight of Cups. We'll talk about it more in a second, but the Eight of Cups is about walking away from what no longer serves you. And again, we have the Two of Wands, so the Eight of Cups can be a little scary as well. With the Empress, you have the Judgment card. Really good time for answers, especially the end of Neptune and Pisces here. Again, Neptune leaves Pisces on January 26th, so we have a few more weeks left of Neptune and Pisces. And, the end right now is kind of like when we should be able to download those answers from everything we've learned since like 2012, right? When Neptune entered into Pisces, the end of 2011, 2012. So I feel that you could be getting a lot of those answers. The trick with the Judgment card is they have to leave these coffins. The coffin is their old life. Outside the coffin is their new life. Same thing with the Two of Wands. He just has to leave that castle that he's standing on top of. So I feel you could be doing that. Here you go. With the Two of Wands, you have the Four of Pentacles holding on to something. Four of Pentacles, he's holding on to a limiting situation. So I always say, like, Four of Pentacles doesn't have to be bad. It's like you could have a business, and if you're making $1 million a year, is that bad? No, not really. But what if the universe wants you to make 10 million, right? It's like, well, then you're going to have to expand. You're going to have to let go of some things and all that. Four of Pentacles, again, it's not bad. He's just holding on to less than he deserves and less than he could work towards. He's, it's like just 4 pentacles. It's not 10 pentacles, for example. So he has to sometimes let go of those 4 pentacles because they're actually keeping him stuck, and he has to expand, which is clearly what the first row wants you to do. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this Impatience card. It says, it takes time to build an empire. You're building an empire, apparently, with that Two of Wands. It says, your desire for instant results can hinder your ability to make good decisions. Yes. The other day, maybe 2 days ago or something like that. Today is the 22nd. So it was actually probably the 19th when we had that new moon in Sagittarius. So the 19th and 20th, I was feeling very unsettled. I was feeling this very unsettled energy just in general. And, some of you could still be feeling that energy. I kind of feel it a little bit. I feel way better than I did on the 20th, but, I kind of feel like that energy could be impatience as well. And so, like I said at the beginning of the reading, it would be good for you to channel your energy into something. Whenever I feel like this, I go for a walk. I get out of my head. I go do something to move forward. And, that might be a good thing for you. You have this Teacher card. It says, you have a natural ability to impart knowledge and guide others towards their inner light. Yeah, you could be teaching people. Again, the thing with, we have Pluto and Aquarius, for 19 more years. The thing with Pluto and Aquarius is we have to teach by doing. So it's not really a good time to teach, in quotation marks. It's better to be a living example. That doesn't mean you can't teach. That doesn't mean if you're a teacher that it's going to be bad or anything like that. It just means how can you teach through being an example? And, that's what I would be thinking of. But, it could be a good time for you to do that, Scorpio. You have the Eight of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the Four of Pentacles. Again, Eight of Cups, he is walking away from those 8 cups, and he's walking into darkness. He has no clue if he's going to find fulfillment or not. He's just walking into darkness, and that is the challenge with the card. I like the Eight of Cups. I think it's good because by walking away, he is telling the universe, I'm not going to settle for less than I deserve. And that is one of the best ways to manifest with the Magician, right? It kind of reminds me, I used to get this question all the time in my readings. When I would read for people on my lives, people would say, should I leave this person, right? That's a big one. And I'm I used to tell those people all the time. I'm well, you're asking the question. You're already thinking about it. So that means you want to leave. That is the Eight of Cups. It's when we stay in those situations, I'm just using love as an example. It doesn't have to be love. It could be anything. If you're asking the question, you probably already want to do it. So it's when we stay in those situations, we're telling the universe it's okay for me to be stuck. when we walk away without knowing if we're going to find something new, we're telling the universe, I want something better. And, it's like sometimes we have to make that decision. And, that's what the Eight of Cups is. You have the Knight of Cups. Could be a Knight in Shining Armor coming in for you, definitely. You've been getting pretty good love readings with me, so yeah, if you want love, I feel there could be a person who kind of like takes your breath away here, Scorpio, if you're looking for love. I feel for all of you, this is like the dream. The Knight of Cups is very dreamy, but he's standing in the desert and he has this water flowing in front of him. If he were to plant seeds in front of that water, they would grow. So, it kind of says like you need to get moving on this expansive dream. 2 Wands, 4 Pentacles, 8 of Cups, like all of this is basically saying it's time to get your move on. You have the 4 Pentacles again. So I feel pretty good about the 4 Pentacles still. Like 4 Pentacles, yeah, can be a little bit of a challenge. We have to let go of something. But it's like you're not even letting go. I think you're just like something could be put into maintenance mode in your life is kind of what it's saying. It's like something, it's like you don't have to spend so much time on it, whatever it is. And I think that would give you the time to do something else that will be very expansive. The other good thing I feel about this is that, sometimes we are asked to completely walk away from something with the 2 Wands and the 8 of Cups. But the 4 Pentacles says you might be walking away, but you still have a solid foundation. It's like you might be doing something new with your life, but the 4 Pentacles can say you have all the information, you have all the experiences, all the lessons you learned from the 2 of Wands, right? For example. So it's like saying you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from a solid foundation, and I feel like you need to know that. With the 8 of Cups, you have the 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords is apparently what I was going to say, is about sneaking away from something. That's where the N came from in the Swords, is sneaking, right? He's sneaking away from this army in the background. But the 7 of Swords is really a good card. Golden cards in the tarot are meant to be positive no matter what. And he is sneaking away, but he's doing something tactically. And it might be a good time for you to do something tactically. Like, for example, if you're thinking about leaving a job, maybe that's what you want to walk away from, don't tell anyone that you're doing it until you get another position, right? Once you have the new position, obviously, you're going to have to put in your 2 weeks or whatever. So again, sometimes with the 7 of Swords, it's better to be tactical and to like not telegraph your moves until after you've already made them. And that's kind of what's popping into my head. With the Knight of Cups, you have the 2 of Pentacles. A very busy year for sure. I definitely 100,000% believe that it's going to be a much busier year for water signs in a good way. I feel water signs are making progress. I feel like you're working on goals. And not only that, because it feels good. That's the big difference this year is Neptune leaving Aries, I think is going to feel good for water signs. I feel like water sign, it's like you're not so stuck in the mud. Again, I say this all the time. To me, I don't think water signs are like Neptune and Pisces, even though Neptune rules Pisces, which I don't think is true. I think Jupiter still rules Pisces. It's like Neptune is like being in the middle of an ocean with like 1,000-foot waves over your head with like 10,000 hurricanes above your head. Not very good, right? So I feel that with Neptune changing signs, I feel water signs are actually going to feel the progress more that they're making. And so it's going to be busy. But 2 of Pentacles, I feel, is saying work hard, play hard. If you're working hard, that's great. But also make sure you're filling up your fun bucket. I probably said that to you this month already. But, it's going to be important. With the 2 of Pentacles, you have the 3 of Pentacles. Yeah, really, it's time for Scorpio to shine. I mean, I've been saying to you all year that it's like time for, like, I feel that Scorpio is, like I probably said in your last reading, it's like you are here because you have lived through what people are about to go through. So it's like you're here to show off in some way. You're here to be a living example, Scorpio. So it's like time to put your work on display. And this has come up for you a million times in 2025. Probably because 2025 is probably preparing you for the next many years of your life. And, now is the time. So there you go. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Cancer card. It says Immerse on it, and you have this Midheaven card. It says Pinnacle on it. Yeah, anything worth doing for you, Scorpio, you being a fixed sign, is going to be worth going all the way in. Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius is the star card. On the star card, she's just like dipping her toes into the water in front of her. The trick with the star card is a very good card, and you don't have it, but I'm just using this as an example. She has to immerse herself in that pool of water. That is the pool of universal consciousness. So with Pluto in Aquarius and you being a fixed sign, it is going to be all about your commitment level to the things that you're working on. You start with the 4 of Wands, which is commitment. Anything worth doing is going to be worth going all in on. And you have to almost make it a part of your life. You start with the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is a card of your environment. So if you're trying to be successful at something, could be anything, could be love, money, business, whatever, then you have to almost integrate that thing with your life. Like, it has to become a part of you, the thing that you're working on. And you have to kind of like make it a purpose, right? There's a difference between just like working on something, just like going through the motions, and, you know, fully integrating with it where it becomes a part of who you are, right? And the Nine of Pentacles wants you to do that. So some of the easy things that you can do is you can have daily habits that make you more successful. You know, just to give you an example, every morning when I wake up, the first thing I do is I watch a video about YouTube. I take a note on it. Some of you have probably already seen this. I take a note on what I learned and I try it. I run a billion freaking experiments on this channel. You all see them, right? Most of them don't work. That's the thing, is that most of them probably aren't going to work, but I don't care. It's part of my practice, right? It's part of my integration. I do that every single day. And I don't know. I think the results speak for themselves here, Scorpio. And it takes no time at all. Most of the videos I watch on like triple speed, right? I listen to them very quickly. The note I take, I mean, if I spend 20 minutes on that every single day, I would be very surprised. It's probably like 10 minutes, right, a day. So, you know, integration doesn't have to take a lot of time. It can be very, very simple. So you can do that. You can develop other habits. You can self-educate as well, as a great one. All of that will probably increase your abundance. Nine of Pentacles is definitely a very abundant card. And you have the Empress. You have the Queen of Swords, a lot of clarity. Again, I think once Neptune leaves Pisces, I think the water signs will be feeling much more clear on their path. You know, she's clear for the first time. She only has clouds halfway up her body, and now she's kind of like more hopeful for the future. I always say that she's kind of like cautiously optimistic. She has her hand up. She's willing to receive, but she also has her sword up. You know, if something isn't right, she's going to cut it out of her life very quickly. I do think that would be a good attitude for you in 2026, you know, starting now, even if you're watching this at the end of 2025. You know, kind of like, you know, taking things in, taking in information, even like, you know, spending time with people. But if you discover that it isn't right, you know, being able to fire quickly is going to be good for you with the Queen of Swords. You have the Ten of Wands. Yeah, I do think like fixed signs should be careful of making things too hard. You know, Ten of Wands is the hard way of doing something. And Ten of Wands wants us to be more efficient. I'm pretty sure you've had the Ten of Wands a lot this year, 2025. The Ten of Wands is not necessarily bad because he's carrying a harvest and he's about to reach his home. But some of those obligations that he's carrying might not be his. And so this has been a major theme for you this year. And it's definitely something I would leave in 2025. Like, how can you leave other people's obligations in the past? And I would be thinking of that right now. Let's see. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Love it. Definitely very good. Definitely could be the thing. You know, Nine of Pentacles, the things I described on that card, could be the thing that changes your life this year in 2026. So, you know, I would be taking advantage of that. You show up right here as the eagle or the phoenix, whichever you prefer. So, you know, whenever you show up as yourself, puts you in a position of power and strength. But, you know, definitely looks like a change in your fortunes here. With the Queen of Swords, you have the Queen of Swords. So exactly what I said. I think you're like cautiously optimistic. You know, I think you're going to try something again. You know, we have the Wheel of Fortune and the Nine of Wands. I think this has come up for you before as well over the past couple months, that you could be revisiting something that you once worked on. You know, that maybe that didn't work in the past. I do think it is a good time for that. You know, we're kind of like even, I can't remember what it's called, so bear with me. But there's some phoenix thing happening in human design. Someone will know in the comments. I'll pin the comment if someone knows what the hell I'm talking about. I think it starts in 2027, this human design change, right? And I've been learning a little bit about it. I really have no clue what I'm talking about, so I don't know. Take this with a grain of salt, but it's popping into my head. And so even though it's starting in 2027, it doesn't matter. You can work with the energy now. And, you know, again, it kind of looks to me like this is a little bit, I wouldn't really call it a second chance. I would say you're more revisiting something. You know, Nine of Wands is a card of perseverance. It says don't give up on something. And the Wheel of Fortune can be like an opportunity that's coming back around to your life. With the Ten of Wands, yes, you have the Eight of Cups. Like I said, there are things that you know you have to leave in 2025. I would start now. Again, this video will be published on December 23rd. So if you're watching this early, I would start now. Like what can you cut out? I don't know. I can't answer that question for you. Only you can answer that question. Next, in the good stuff, you have this card that says, believe in the impossible. Yes, end of Neptune and Pisces. We have one more chance to take that first step towards the impossible dream, whatever your impossible dream is. If you don't have one, I would come up with one and just get started. You have the South Node. It says, don't let your past hold you back. The entire reading is saying, don't let your past hold you back, especially the Ten of Wands and the Eight of Cups. So it's time to cut that stuff out. You have the High Priestess, the Nine of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles. High Priestess wants you to trust your intuition, of course, listen to your inner voice. So I do feel it would be a good time for you to listen to your inner voice or your intuition more. Again, it is a very intuitive time. Our intuition, especially for water signs, again, with Neptune changing signs, I think water signs will notice the change in their intuition. I think with Neptune going into Aries, that it's going to be that first feeling that you have on things. That's what you should be paying attention to, is that first gut instinct, that first intuitive hit is probably right. So, and I kind of have been feeling this now. So this might, even though Neptune isn't in Aries yet, doesn't matter. Again, you could be feeling those first initial gut instincts right away, and that's what I would listen to. You have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, definitely try again. I think that you're about to try something again in your life, whatever it is. And I feel it's going to work much better this time. The Queen of Swords could say you're finally clear on what you need to do to make something work. So, there you go. I would definitely try again. You have the Seven of Pentacles. The seven, I thought you had, you do have two sevens. So I thought so. You have the Seven of Swords. Two sevens can be internal fears that don't exist. And so if you're worried about something not working again, I would let those fears go. The Seven of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? He's looking at those Seven Pentacles and saying, is it worth it for me to keep working on those Seven Pentacles, or is there something different that I could do with my time, my effort, my energy, my attention? And I don't know. Only you can answer that question, Scorpio. With the High Priestess, you have the Ten of Cups. Your intuition is probably leading you towards fortune after difficulty. Ten of Cups is fortune after difficulty. With the Ten of Wands, and then having the Ten of Cups after, that can represent lightening the load, making things easier. Like I always say, that doesn't mean your life is going to be super easy. It just says, how can you make your life more simple? How can you streamline your day? How can you make things smoother? And I would be thinking about all that with these cards. Definitely very good for love as well. Again, if you could be attracting a water sign, could be any sign, general reading. Taurus also shows up here. It could be, like I said, could be any sign. But Ten of Cups is happy home, happy family. With the Nine of Wands, you have the Seven of Cups. More options. This year is definitely your options. Uranus and Gemini. Uranus moves into Gemini in April, but it's already been there. So, we could already be seeing more options and more ways of doing things. And this is kind of one of the blessings, I think, for, starting in 2026. Uranus will be there until 2033. I think Uranus and Gemini is a little chaotic, as I've said before, but Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, so it loves Gemini. So it's good. But I still think it could create a little bit of craziness, but at the same time, it will be increasing our options. We will have probably more ideas, more opportunities, but we have to take advantage of those things. We can't just look at it and see it and not do something with it. So, it's going to require work, but if you put the work in, you'll be happy you did. With the Seven of Pentacles, you have the King of Cups. It's some of you, it's coming up in the good stuff, and I definitely feel there could be good love coming in for you, but at the same time, it's I feel like some of you, it's a question, as in, do you want love or not? I don't know. Again, I'm not you, and obviously, you're all different. You all want different things, but I would be thinking about love if whether you want it or not. You have this October card and this throne that says position of authority. Yeah, it's a really good time, especially with Saturn and Aries. Pretty much anyone can, if you want to be an authority, you can become an authority with Saturn and Aries. You have to be disciplined. You have to put the work in. You also have to, I think the secret sauce with Saturn and Aries is to be seen as being a finisher, right? We have to start things and finish them. That is the trick, because the problem with Aries is sometimes Aries energy can start something, but they don't finish it. But if you start projects and you finish them, whether they're successful or not, doesn't matter. What matters is finishing. Then you could become an authority. You have this ink pot. It says problems to be resolved. Probably my one criticism of 2026 is little problems. I think we are too used to Pluto and Capricorn, even though Pluto is in Aquarius right now. I think, again, we had Pluto and Capricorn for 20 freaking years. So I think everybody is just too used to a problem causing you to like fall completely down the mountain. I think what we need to realize in 2026 is that little issues, little problems, they're not going to stop progress like they used to. And so we need to push past these little issues. And, there you go. You have this man card. It says dealings or relationships with a man. You have this cracked cup. It says dissatisfaction with life. Some of you might be dissatisfied with a relationship. And again, if you are, I would leave. I wouldn't stay in it with the 8 of Cups, of course. Not telling you what to do, but, whatever. Some of you might also be looking for love, and that's what you could be dissatisfied with. But I don't know. Love looks pretty good. You have this funnel. It says period of frustration, lessons to be learned. I think that's what you've been through with Neptune and Neptune and Pisces. Like I said, it's like moving through quicksand. It's like Neptune and Pisces, sometimes I think it's like we know what to do to get something to work. It's just being able to do it. That is the problem. Luckily, this is going away. You have this face that says secret admirer. Yes, there you go. I think you're the secret admirer. Like, yeah, I'm calling you out here, Scorpio. I think that you are interested in someone, and I don't know. I would scoop them up. I would do something here. But if you're not, then you have a secret admirer. Even if you are the secret admirer, you might have another one. So there you go. This looks really good, Scorpio. I feel good about this reading for sure. So your reading made me feel better. So there you go. But it looks good. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your month.